Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this week's webinar with Deepblocks. My name is Michael Covone. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer, and I'll be guiding you through our weekly webinar. As we begin this week, we're going to be looking how to canvas markets, filter millions and millions of properties in a matter of minutes. We're going to look at filtering down using certain uses allowed based on zoning, also use other types of criteria from property data criteria, zoning criteria to help refine those results. And again, quickly show you how to cater your search to your development needs and find those opportunities in particular markets. We're going to go through a few markets. We're going to look at Nashville, Tennessee, Raleigh, North Carolina, and if we have some time, we'll jump into New Orleans, Louisiana. But again, just kind of show you the capacity of the software, how we can scan and canvas multiple markets at scale, and again, go through and filter through millions of parcels in matters of minutes, find that parcel that fits your development thesis and criteria. And we'll also go through an example of after we select a parcel based on the various uses allowed, we can showcase how the Deepblocks software also has the ability to do a feasibility study, go through the 3D modeling, and basically preliminary underwriting to do 3D modeling, and that 1 year back of the envelope financial analysis, and truly understand the real potential of that particular parcel to see if it makes sense. But before we get started and jump right in, we're going to just give a few more minutes to let some more people join us. But I do again appreciate taking the time to join us this week. And at any time, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat to ask a question, or if you have a question at the end of the webinar, you reach out to me at michael@deepblocks.com. If you want to go have a one-on-one demo or discuss the software and more extensively and kind of go through it based on your use case, again, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to kind of quickly share my screen, and we're going to go through some of the key parts of the website that I always like to do each and every week, just to help you understand and show you where there's some key resources on deepblocks.com. As you'll see, we have our cities section, which right now shows the 43 cities we have with zoning data. We are actually rolling out another 57 cities. They're pretty much ready to go. Should be any day now. We'll be in 100 cities with zoning data. So just to kind of give a quick review of Deepblocks, it's kind of your one-stop shop. We're converging zoning data, parcel level data, market data, construction costs, demographic data into one interface. And with that, with all these various data sets, we're allowing you to do speed to site selection. And upon selecting that particular site, you can then go into our Explorer interface and do a feasibility analysis. Again, it does a 3D model and massing, and basically you can enter in assumptions, setbacks, and truly understand the real potential of a particular parcel. And just again, it's a matter of really making your process more efficient, streamlining that process in that pre-construction phase. And again, really allowing you to not only do it in a more timely manner, but also reducing a lot of the costs upfront that you have to spend with consultants or architects or whatever it may be. The software allows you to really go through that process with your team in-house. And again, you can do it at scale. You can do it in any of the markets that we provide. And again, we're continuing to add more markets. We're willing to work with you to bring markets or cities that you may need that we do not have just yet. We can get cities live for you. So again, always feel free to reach out and recommend cities that might fit your needs. Additionally, we have our webinar section where we typically upload our previous webinars. Our tutorial section, again, another great section. So if you're ever on trial using our software, or you currently have an active subscription with us, you can go to the tutorial section, 60-second clips that really are instrumental in showing you key functionalities and capabilities of the site. And just, again, real short clips that kind of go through some of the most important aspects of the software and just showcase those functionalities. And lastly, we have our pricing. As I like to mention, we're at $18,000 a year for the national subscription. We'll be at $36,000 once we launch the next 57 cities. So once we're in 100 cities total, we'll be at $36,000 a year. But if you get in now at $18,000 a year, you'll be grandfathered into that pricing for life. As we roll out more cities, the pricing is only going to get more expensive. We're working on a lot of new map layers as well, some forecasting models, and some very interesting ways of comparing cities, development potential, comparing census tracts development potential, and really kind of understanding that inventory growth for particular areas, and kind of be ahead of the curve with the trends and give you a true competitive advantage. So as we add layers like that, it also it's going to drive that price up. But as I mentioned, if you get in now at 18,000 a year, you'll be locked in at that price no matter what the future pricing is down the road. So with that being said, let's get this webinar started. And again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to use the chat to reach out. But we're going to jump right in. And as I mentioned, just to again kind of review, today we're going to be canvassing various markets and kind of showing how we can go through these markets and filter through millions of properties or thousands of properties, as many properties as you see in a particular market, and we can narrow those properties down to just a handful based on your development criteria, using, again, we could look for certain uses allowed, if it's multifamily, if it's office, industrial. We can even get even more specific, say we're looking for car washes, restaurants, medical offices, hospitals, whatever, again, suits your development needs. We can enter in these specific uses allowed to see what parcels are zoned for those uses, and then add in additional criteria like gross buildable, units allowed on a particular parcel, and really look for maybe vacant land if that slider is available in that particular market. And again, try to really refine those results and find that true development opportunity based on what you are looking to build. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to go into Nashville, Tennessee to start. Like I said, we're going to do Nashville, Tennessee first, go through some of the use cases, and then jump into Raleigh, North Carolina, and then lastly, I have some time, we'll look at New Orleans, Louisiana. The one thing to truly understand is that the software is capable of doing what I'm going to demonstrate now in all the cities that we have zoning data in. And again, always keep in mind, we have parcel level data in over 1,000 plus cities. So even if you do not have zoning, you still can use the software to your benefit to understand some of that parcel level data. You could also always use that financial modeling into the 3D modeling, the financial analysis tool as well. So the software is capable of doing a tremendous amount of things. A lot of our market data, demographic data is nationwide, show opportunity zones as well. So, but there is a lot of power behind our zoning data. So the cities that we do have zoning does truly bring a tremendous amount of value to you. So with that being said, one of the first things I like to always kind of demonstrate, as we here in Nashville, Tennessee, kind of zoom out a bit, like to always kind of give a nice macro level view to try to understand the marketplace that we are canvassing at the moment. So I always, just to kind of give you a little background, I'm using Google Chrome. Deepblocks is a SaaS product. We always recommend Google Chrome. I like to zoom out to 80%. That way I can capture as many parcels as possible and really, get a good overview and look of particular city that I am exploring. So we're going to turn on this layer. It's called buildable area ratio layer. This is a great layer and truly gives you a good understanding of where the pockets of density are, where we're seeing high density in high growth areas in a particular city. That is represented with that deep red. That darker orange is kind of that next level. So, and just to always keep in mind, any layer that we have over here in this map layers panel, and underneath the market scanner, we have a map legend, which shows you how that data is sourced and how it's also represented. So you can see this index here, that dark red will give you that we're seeing a high level of density with the dark red. So I want to kind of focus in on this particular red. And like I always like to show, we can start to zoom in a bit and kind of start to activate some of the other layers. So just so I kind of get a good understanding of some demographic data, I will turn on the people button, and I like to look at that median income. This is median income based on certain parts of each part of Nashville. So looking in this particular area, we're looking at 73,000 median income. So strong median income there, but then it's kind of surrounded with some lower incomes at 12, 35, 20. Some little higher ones over here, 54 and 40. So it gives you a good understanding of that, of the median income. We could also look at employment percentages in this particular city. We're at 69% in this particular area where I'm kind of focused in, where that, again, that high density is. We also show population. as well. So again, stronger population right in that center part of Nashville, and then some lower population surrounding. So very helpful layers I like to always look at too. So again, as I mentioned, we're going to go to various uses allowed and look for parcels based on multifamily, office, retail, and industrial. So for each section here, we do what's called, we have residential rates, office rates, retail rates, industrial rates. Essentially what we're doing is we take an aggregate of listing data throughout the country, and then we apply our machine learning to these rates and bring a strong baseline of dollar per square foot to give you a good understanding of what we're seeing in the marketplace. We do our best to validate that and verify that those rates are relatively in line of today's current market. We say it's within a few percentage points. So right now, for instance, for the residential rates, we're seeing about $3.13 on average per square foot in this particular area for residential rates. If we want to look at some office rates, we are going to see $31.13 in this particular area. We also have, like I mentioned, retail rates. We're seeing $41.34. And lastly, industrial, which is, again, as many of you know, industrial is extremely hot right now. A lot of logistical and distribution centers going up, supply chain type centers going up. So this is very beneficial to understand. And right now we're seeing industrial rates at $18.70 a square foot. So that just gives you a good idea of some of the rates that we're seeing. Again, Nashville's a nice up and coming market that we're also noticing some growth. So we're going to continue to zoom in more and more. Now we're going to kind of get into that parcel level understanding of our search. And once the parcels appear, those blue, you'll see those blue outlines appear. Now we know our parcels are now showing, and we can now activate our market scanner. And this is kind of where the power of the technology truly comes in. So just to give you an idea of how many parcels we're looking at the moment, I like to always just kind of put 1.5 million into there, and just kind of that'll do is that I'll basically highlight all the parcels. So roughly, let me just kind of pull this to the center a little bit and let it update. And what this kind of does, it gives you a good understanding of the number of parcels. We're looking at about 42 to be exact, 4,258 parcels in my particular viewport. Now, keep in mind, as you move your screen north, south, east, or west, it'll automatically update and show you the amount of parcels in your particular viewport at that time. So, but for this particular example, we're seeing about a little over 4,000 parcels. So from there, we're going to quickly demonstrate how we can narrow that down to just a handful based on your use cases. So for instance, one of the first use cases I want to kind of go through is we're going to look at, let's see, we're going to use this allowed, we're going to look at multifamily. So we're going to select multifamily. And right now, see, now we jump down to just 2,800. And then you can kind of start to refine these results based on, lot size. If you have an idea of the lot size you're looking for, buildable area, units allowed is a great one to easily activate. So maybe we're looking for, let's say, 75 to 150 units. And we'll see, and then we're down, see, there you go, right there. So we just went from a little over 4,000 parcels down to 3 matching zone for multifamily, where the units allowed is only between 75 and 150. You'll notice there's 1, 2, and there's another one over there in that bottom corner over there. So again, quickly, now we have 3 parcels that we could select each one and kind of go through the process and evaluate. And again, as you see, as I move my screen now, it updates to 5. The great thing about Deepblocks, you can actually export out to a CSV file these parcels that match. It'll give you all the parcels that are matching at any point, along with about 15 columns of key information from address information, zoning information, some demographic information. So just key parcel level information that, as I mentioned, zoning information tied to that parcel. So you can have that in a CSV file as a great resource. Additionally, as I mentioned, if you want to go to the next step, we can start to select these parcels and go through the evaluation and do an assessment and go through the feasibility analysis. And I'll show you that towards the very end. We'll select one parcel, but kind of really want to focus on demonstrating the various uses allowed that you're capable of looking for with Deepblocks. So just another example here, we're going to look at for industrial. So we just simply select industrial. Again, 2,300 parcels matching from that 4,200 that we originally. And another way we kind of start to refine it, buildable area is a great slider to activate for industrial. So say we're looking for 100,000 minimum to maybe 300,000 max gross buildable. And now we're down to 430 parcels matching. We could start to enter in some other key pieces of information, but I'm going to kind of focus in on this particular area here. You can start to zoom in a bit. Now, another thing that's crucial, especially for industrial, you might want to turn on the road type to see what road types are kind of going through this particular part of Nashville. And you have certain access roads based on that industrial, because you probably want to have good in and out ability to get in and out of a particular location. Again, we can always turn those industrial rates back on just to see what we're going to, what we're gonna get dollar per square foot. So this just gives you a good idea of what we're looking for here. Again, so right now we're looking at about 296 parcels, and I can even reduce this a little more because maybe I'm looking for 250,000 minimum. And see if I can go a little bit bigger. And now we drop down to just 52. Another key part of Deepblocks, we have these demographic trends. So just gives you a little more of a micro level view and understanding of a particular market and area. And it's based on census tracts. So say we're kind of focused in on this particular area where this density is. And what we simply do is you just put your mouse over these little color boxes. And once that color box overshadows your particular area of interest, you can turn the other ones off and then we can focus in. So this is census tract 195, kind of focused in on this particular area. Very strong inclination of growth of population. We could also now look at employment per population against the United States average. Again, nice strong incline of employment per population against that US average that's relatively flat. We could look at gross rent, but we can also look at median household income. So let's turn the other ones off. Again, so strong indications that this is a very solid area to be looking in. And again, you can kind of start to select these sites and start going through each site to the next preliminary underwriting and go through that feasibility analysis and start to study and assess the potential of these particular parcels. As I mentioned, you can kind of turn on some additional layers here to maybe FAR, or you can also turn on lot size. Another great feature we have is the satellite view, which allows you to kind of see what resides on a particular location. It gives you a good idea of maybe it's a parking lot or something relatively vacant. As I mentioned, certain cities have what's what we call the existing building data, where we can put in zeros and look for vacant land. Some of the cities do not have it. I'll show you in the Raleigh example where we can put in existing building at 0 and see some vacant land. So another alternative is you turn the satellite layer on and you can really start to zoom in on these particular parcels, kind of scan around and say, all right, this looks like a parking lot. This looks like a parking lot. These might be good opportunities of places to develop. Also, when you select a parcel, we have a Google Street View that you can click that. That also kind of will validate and verify what's currently residing on a parcel. So again, so that just gives you another example of how to search for a specific use, in this case, industrial. Let's check out some other ones that are going on in this part of Nashville. We're going to check out, let's look for some retail uses. So for instance, I get questions about car washes quite a bit. And we can now start to see what parcels are zoned for a car wash. We have 47 parcels matching. Maybe for a lot size, we're going to go maybe a little bit over an acre. So about an acre is about 43,000 square feet. So let's go about 65,000 square feet, which might be a little big, and now we drop down to 41 parcels allowed. And again, we can kind of you'll start to scan that market, start to zoom in. Again, you can kind of, use these demographic trends to focus in on certain parcels to see if any of these make sense in terms of a place for a car wash. Now, again, we also have our retail button. We can look at the retail rates, $25.27 per square foot. It's up here, it's a little higher, but they're looking like there's more opportunities down in this particular area. You can also see if it's in an opportunity zone. We can simply turn this on. This actually is in an opportunity zone, so that's some possible tax incentives. We can also, let me go back to retail. Let me turn this buildable area off for a second. We could also look at local businesses around the area and see if there's some businesses around the area. We could turn on a traffic count and see that gives you a good idea of traffic flow in a particular area. So obviously you want to probably be in a higher traffic flow for certain retail opportunities. So again, these are just ways of assessing, analyzing a market, and again, kind of catering it based on your use case. So car wash, just some other ones that I get. Self-service storage is another big opportunity that we hear about quite a bit. We're seeing a lot of storage units coming up in recent times, so we can select those. And right now we have 81 parcels matching that are for self-service storage. Again, same concept. We want to start narrowing that 81 down. We could go to a gross buildable. Now it's probably going to be a little bit on the smaller side than 200,000, not 200,000. So let's go 50 to say 100,000 square feet. And there you go. We got two parcels matching. So we got one down there. And let's see where that other one is. So sometimes they hide behind these menus. So you just got to kind of see where they're located. Again, like there's one there, and then there's a couple over, and there's a bunch over here. And again, the great thing about the software is, as mentioned, you move your screen around, your parcels match and basically automatically update. So this gives you the ability to quickly go through a market, kind of scan it quickly, and again, you have turn these layers on. You have your criteria in place, and just again, it's a way of quickly identifying these opportunities and development possibilities with these various layers in place. And we're always adding to these layers. We're always working on new layers as well. We always are open to suggestions from our client base and potential clients to give us data sets that might help them with their process. So again, it just gives you another good example of how to find parcels for self-service storage. Last example I'll show you for this particular market or city of Nashville is medical. I get medical quite a bit. So hospitals, for instance, let's look for parcel zone for hospitals. And let's say at least a minimum of 250,000 square feet up to say 350,000 square feet. Let's see what we get. So now we have 31 parcels matching that are zoned for hospitals with this gross buildable. And again, so you see quickly how you can kind of go through the city, navigate through that city, look at different trends, and truly understand a particular market, pump in specific use allowed. Another great part of Deepblocks is the zoning districts. If you know the zoning codes for specific development plays that you're doing, you can also put those in here, which are obviously particular to each municipality. But if you know your zoning districts, we just find use allowed a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier language to understand, and again, kind of is in line with a lot of our the way we're looking to develop and find those opportunities. Because the key what we're trying to bring is make your life easier. We're trying to make your life easier. We're trying to make it more efficient. And again, the goal here is to kind of go through all these off-market possibilities to find a potential parcel play, parcel where you can do a development play on for your particular development needs. And just the cool thing about Deepblocks is you can do assemblages. So we can select. So we can look at these two parcels. We can actually do an assemblage, select them both, and kind of we'll get all that property info here. See the value. We'll see all the zoning limits. We combine all the information based on both parcels. We'll see the uses allowed, uses breakdown. Also, then we get our setbacks for these particular parcels. And this is a very crucial information, especially the zoning information, that once we have this information in place, we can then, once we get that preliminary underwriting, we can work on our 3D model, adjust the setbacks, enter in income assumptions, cost assumptions, and you automatically will see everything computed. You're 1 year back of the envelope. You'll see all the breakdown of the economics, the building size, floor plates, all the different values that are tied to it. Again, we can enter in setbacks from the ground floor up to as many floors that the building has. We can enter in the parking by use as well. So just a lot of capability to really give you a true understanding of the potential of a particular parcel. We also have a draw parcel tool, which allows you to draw parcels within a parcel. So we've had this assemblage, we can then now draw subdivides within this assemblage. Or we can, again, if we only want to select one parcel, we can do the same thing and just focus in on this parcel, and we could draw subdivides within this particular parcel, or just draw out a certain shape of a building that we want to build out. So maybe we want to do something where it's more of a U shape instead of, because the way the software is programmed, if you select a parcel and do preliminary underwriting, it will just show you, it will do 3D modeling based on the size of that parcel, and then you can put the setbacks in. But we also give you the flexibility of using the draw parcel tool to kind of draw it out the way you want maybe the building to fit that particular piece of land. So I just want to kind of jump into another market, and then I'll go through to the feasibility analysis just to show you how that all works as well. But I want to just kind of give a good understanding of the power behind our site selection. I mean, we're seeing a lot of our users and clients really take advantage of the site selection in our market scanner, because the advantage of going through these markets much faster. Instead of waiting for deals to come to them or waiting to work, with their network, they can now kind of scan the markets much faster. And even more importantly, they can add in or enter in their specific criteria that they're using to refine their results, and again, find those opportunities that are in line with their development thesis, we like to say, or development guidelines. So I'm going to jump into Raleigh, and I'll show you quickly how in Raleigh, North Carolina, we can go through and do the same, go through the same process. Let me turn the satellite off for 1 second. We do have a question. Okay, so the question is, I use this for prospecting as well. So under listing, will it show if it's listed? It's a very good question, and I'll go through that as the parcels come up when I go through my example now. We do show certain listings that are for sale. It was kind of an experimental thing we tried. We do have certain listings within certain markets. The thing is, we really are more we'd rather bring our users everything, more of like off-market deals. And what we always advise them to do is that they find the parcel that fits their needs based on their criteria. Then they kind of go to their network, or even contact the owner directly and kind of work a deal with them. So we always like to say that if a piece of land makes sense for their development potential, and again, obviously, as long as there's no new construction on that, which we try to validate by using the street view or using some of the other property information that we have access to. But if that particular parcel is you can develop on it, or it's again vacant, we'd rather provide you all the parcels with the potential of developing again based on your criteria. So, but we do have that, like you mentioned, that listing button, and it does show some listings throughout. But it's something that we might develop on a little bit more and maybe improve upon. But we're seeing more success by just again offering and showing all the parcels available based on specific criteria. So I will show you exactly what I mean when I say that listing button, because I think you'll see it in certain cities. I know, like in Miami, where we're based, we have that listing button, and you can see certain listings that are available. So, but then there's certain cities we do not have it available. So it just depends on the city. But again, here we are in now Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm gonna do the same thing. I like to always start out from that macro level view, get a good feel and understanding of the particular market I'm looking at. Turn some of these off for a second. And we're gonna go back. So as I mentioned, this is kind of, we're looking for those pockets of interest where we're seeing high density. Again, that deep red right here. So kind of zoom into that particular part of Raleigh, North Carolina. Again, we'll throw in some of the other, activate that median income. Zoom out a little bit. So it's a very strong income level here, some decent surrounding incomes as well. So some good potential opportunity within Raleigh, North Carolina. And again, we can look at the residential rates. We can look at some of the industrial rates. See those retail rates as well. So you see now that the comparison between Raleigh versus Nashville, the rates are a little bit less $ per square foot, but there might be some more development potential, as Raleigh is also an up and coming city. And again, this is where we're kind of heading. We're trying to use our zoning data to bring to you a way of comparing cities, comparing census tracts, and providing you and guiding you on making these decisions of what cities the next best thing to develop, the next best census tract to develop. And we are heading in that direction very shortly. We're literally looking to launch some new layers in 2022, in the beginning of 2022. And with the power of our site selection, you'll be able to go through the process from A to Z, even with a lot of tools and resources to really back your decision making. So again, we're going to zoom back in, look for some parcels, and I'm going to focus in again the center part. So as I mentioned, let's see how many parcels total we're looking at. We got 4,600 roughly we're looking at, and now let's start to narrow it down again. So let's look for some they use multi-unit living as their term for use allowed. And that's everything you'll notice. Every municipality kind of has their own language, but for the most part, it's relatively uniform to a degree. So we'll see. We have about 4,400 parcels matching for zone for multifamily. Again, let's look for some between. This is a little bit of a smaller state, so maybe we'll look for zone for 25 to 50 units. And now we're down to 7 parcels matching. And now I'll show you how they have. See, we have the existing building layer here, and this is where we can put in and look for vacant land. And for this particular, there's no parcels matching. So let me drop this down to 15. So there we go. So for units allowed minimum of 15 up to 50, we have 2 parcels matching that are zoned for multifamily and vacant land. The key is just to, again, sometimes they are tucked away underneath some of there's one over here. There they are, they're right here. So actually, this could be a potential assemblage play for this particular part of Raleigh, North Carolina. So again, that just shows you how we quickly went from over 4,000 parcels just to 2 for multifamily. Just to do a couple more, and I'm going to kind of go through, finish up, and show you that feasibility analysis. But let's just let's look at industrial. Oops, there we go. I believe there's also light industrial. There's light manufacturing. So this just gives you an idea of the different types of use allowed. And maybe I'll do, again, gross buildable. I'm going to go a little bit smaller. Well, we could leave it at 250, 350. Where's that one parcel? Let's see, there it is. All right, perfect. So there's that, yeah, 1 parcel matching. Again, so this just once again just shows you, if you have specific criteria you're looking for, and you just enter it in right away, you kind of narrow it down to these specific results. And it's just a great way of understanding. This also, I believe this is also vacant land. So this is perfect. So zone for industrial, vacant land, and also buildable area of 250,000 to 350,000. So very helpful. But let me end with, let's say we're looking for, lastly, like I mentioned, medical offices was another, or hospitals. Let's see. There we go, medical. Perfect, same concept. So that's also zoned for medical. So we can either do industrial or medical. So it's just for an example to show you how the preliminary underwriting works and that the 3D modeling and feasibility study works. You'll notice this property info, we kind of break everything down to a degree. Again, some zoning information is more extensive than others. It's always based on the municipalities we work with. If they provide more information than others, and then we can kind of see the uses breakdown and these setbacks. But just to quickly go through it, so say I'll just do office for this particular example. I'll hit continue, and this will bring us through our feasibility. It's called our Explorer interface, but this is where you do the feasibility studies. You could copy your projects, do various iterations. You can look at office plays, office with a retail at the bottom. I'll just show you quickly how we could turn retail on, and then all of a sudden that retail shows up. And basically what it does is it allows you to go into your assumptions. You can work on that parking. So that property info we were just looking at is also displayed here as well. You'll get all your parking by use information. So we present to you all the information, and then you simply just have to kind of punch in some of the key information. Everything here is, Sorry, my mouse. Everything here is adjustable for you. We leave it to the user, in the hands of the user to enter in the information. But just to kind of go through a quick office, let's see, is one space per 400 square feet, so roughly 2.5. You can then go into the income side of it. You'll see now we do pull in sub-market rates based on that particular census tract, but maybe we can get $18 per square foot. You could also adjust the cost side of this as well by hitting project cost. You know, you can adjust your purchase price. You can adjust your soft cost as a percentage of the hard cost. We are showing dollar per square foot hard cost based on this particular sub-market value, but again, we can adjust it. Maybe you can do 170. And you'll notice as you adjust all these values, your KPIs down below automatically update. Your return analysis automatically is being computed. You're running at the back of the envelope, and then those assumptions are broken down. Again, as I mentioned, you can define that building. We can put setbacks in. You could actually go to setback mode and uniquely identify each setback for each side. But just again, just to show you more of a quick level, you'll see we put 20 feet in. We can then go to the and you can see we kind of can make a little tower. We can adjust our usable area, bring it down a little bit. That way it's a nice office building on top of a garage. And as I mentioned, we could always throw some retail into this if we wanted to. You can go back down and work on the retail, maybe make it a little bit bigger. You can always expand these values no matter what you see there. So maybe you want to do, yeah, and then we could work on the retail income. Maybe we could get about $75. So again, you're trying to do what you possibly can to see what is the true potential of this particular parcel. Does it make sense to do office with some retail here? Right now, we only see about 3.61 ROC 1 year back of the envelope. Again, I'm kind of going through this example relatively quickly, but the key is to kind of look at these parcels and see which ones have the most potential. Do they meet your development criteria? And once you get a good understanding of what is you're capable of building on this, then you kind of bring it to the next level. And then you actually have a lot of that upfront work done. And again, you're reducing a tremendous amount of cost. Instead of spending $5,000, $10,000 per iteration with a consultant or architect, you're doing it right here at your fingertips. I mean, you could export out to a PDF report, a nice little 4-pager. So again, as we went through all these different parcels, you could say you found 3 or 4 parcels matching your criteria, and you went through the feasibility studies. You can then export each study out with the iterations or multiple iterations that you may have done in each parcel. And now you got a nice little 4-pager. You could put your logo here, change the color of the report. You could write your own little summary. You get some property info, zoning summary, stacking plan, demographic trends for this particular area, and lastly, you'll get your financial analysis, that 1 year back in the envelope, along with those key assumptions broken down. So it's a great way of presenting it to your coworkers, investors, whoever you may be working with, to show them, all right, here we go. Our team found 2-3 parcels. I mean, again, there's one client we worked with in one of the biggest markets in the country, found numerous parcels that matched their development criteria and had one go to LOI relatively quickly. And there's, they feel they would have never made it to that step without using Deepblocks. Just allowed them to really canvas the entire market much better with, and really give them access to seeing and understanding the entire, city and the, again, matching the potential with their criteria. So just kind of recapping again, today was more about showing you really how to use that market scanner and the search engine on the front end, and again, canvas, a couple markets and show you how to enter in certain uses allowed and other additional criteria based on those uses to really narrow down those results and refine them to allow you to find those few opportunities that, again, will match what you guys are trying to develop. And then obviously you take it to the next step and go through this preliminary underwriting, do the 3D modeling, and kind of go through various iterations to see what the potential is on that particular parcel. What is the real potential? Does it make sense from a high level to work on, and use your team to go to the next level with your resources to pursue that particular parcel. So again, it just goes to show you the power of Deepblocks. We continue to scale out. We're expanding to more and more cities. And next year, our goal is to hit over 700 cities with zoning data. We're going to be adding in more map layers. So this is really a great time to join Deepblocks, be a part of this. If you already are a customer of ours and a client, we appreciate your business and appreciate working with you. We always look for feedback as well. And again, appreciate you guys joining me this week. I look forward to meeting up with you again next week, and I'll keep going through different key functionalities of the software, as well as exploring all the different markets that we have access to. So please have a great afternoon, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Take care. I do have one. All right, so good question. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for saying that. So right now we're still at 43 cities with zoning, and we literally had the 57 next cities to bring us to 100. They're ready to go. It's just a matter of rolling them out. We're working on finalizing some of these new map layers that we're going to be implementing in 2022. So we're kind of getting those prepared so we can quickly implement them in 2022. That's going to help with comparing cities and comparing census tracts and really understanding true development potential. So we can even bring you guys into the next step of where we're seeing development potential occur. So we're working on those, but we should have these next 57 cities rolled out literally any day. I mean, I'm told it's going to be before the new year. So we will be in 100 cities with zoning data very shortly. And I will definitely release that I will announce that to an email everybody, as well as announce it in the webinar too. So I will make sure we notify everyone once we do have the 57 cities, the new cities live, and we officially hit 100 cities. So I will keep you posted, but it's definitely coming any day. So again, so thank you so much for your time, and again, I appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.